Hi friends, welcome back to my channel, and today I wanted to do a video that I have seen going around the past couple of weeks, and that is going over the worst books that I have read according to Goodreads. So books that are very lowly rated on Goodreads. I will tell you whether I agree with the rating, my thoughts on the book, and let's just see where we go. So we will start with the better of the worst. That is A House at the Bottom of a Lake, which has a average rating of 3.22, and I gave this a 3. So obviously I agree with the very average rating. This is the story of two teens who discover a house at the bottom of a lake, and the reason that this probably has such a low rating is the very ambiguous ending. If you are not a fan of ambiguous endings, then you definitely won't like this. I was a fan of the ending, but I think the rest of it was a little bit messy, and I feel like I would have liked the execution to have been a little bit better. We then have The Death of Jane Lawrence, which is at a 3.21 average rating. I gave it 2 stars, so I definitely agree with the low rating. Did not like this. Love the cover. Didn't like the inside. This is supposedly a horror book. It was like a nominee for horror finalist in Goodreads. I didn't see the horror personally, but it's about a woman who gets married to this guy, and he tells her that they can, you know, live separate as long as she never goes to his ancestral home. And then the night of their wedding, they end up having to go to the home because of like an accident or a riot or something like that. And some weird stuff's happening. I thought that this was going to be something that it was not. It was very much like about ghosts and like spiritualism, but not in a fun way. I didn't think the twist was all that interesting, and I didn't like the way that it was written. We then have Quickies, which is 8 short erotica stories. It has a rating of 3.7. I personally didn't rate it, but the majority of the stories got like a 3-star from me. I agree with the 3.17. It's very average. There's some good stories in there. There's some really weird stories. So it was an average collection, I guess. We then have The Last Final Girl, which has an average rating of 3.15, and I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. I loved The Last Final Girl. It's written like a screenplay, a slasher movie in this town. So the way it's written is like enter scene, action, action is being described. There's a killer wearing a mask in the town, basically. And I can definitely see why someone wouldn't like the story. You have to be a very intense like slasher movie lover to enjoy this story. It's definitely an ode to slasher movies, and I think the writing could be pretty off-putting for some people, but I absolutely adored it. So we then have a comic, Penguin Triumphant. This has an average rating of 3.12. I didn't rate it, and it's kind of just okay. It's about Penguin. Like, if you're familiar with Batman, then you know who Penguin is. It's alright. I mean, it's not anything interesting. I have a copy around here somewhere. The art's pretty, but it wasn't like outstandingly interesting. Okay, so next up we have Catherine House, which has a 3.12, and I gave it 2 stars. I detested this story. I thought it was so boring. It was so pointless. Honestly, there isn't anything redeeming I have to say about this, because I felt like it was a massive waste of time. I don't really have anything to say. It's about this girl who goes to like a school and weird shit's happening, and that's it. Like, there's nothing interesting just being said. There's nothing interesting going on. So I agree. I'd probably say lower than a 3.12. We then have Leather and Lace, which has a 3.11 average rating, and I gave it 4 stars. This is a short story collection. I think there's like 5 or 6 stories. They're each about 40 pages long, and they're like little romances. I really enjoyed it. I think that each story was well fleshed out enough that I like rooted for the romances, but I could see why someone would think that this was very average. We then have Glory Days, which is a graphic novel of it's like 3 women that are all experiencing different things and they like come together. It has an average rate of 2.96, and I didn't rate this, but I didn't like it. I don't like the art style. It's not good. And it's hard to read because of the art style. So I didn't personally enjoy it, but the people that love Glory Days love Glory Days. We then have Love Zipper, which has a 2.94, and this only has like 15 reviews, so I'm sure that's why this is at the bottom. It's a sapphic story about 2 women who meet through a mutual friend slash boss. One runs a dog Instagram account that the other one loves. I didn't like it. I didn't rate it because I felt like it had such few reviews that I didn't want my opinion to keep someone from reading it, because it's like a sapphic story by an indie published author. But I was not a fan. I think her obsession with her boss was just like went on too long and was too much for me to root for the romance. And then the last one is honestly a little heartbreaking. It's the worst rated book of all of the books that I have read and marked read on Goodreads, and I fucking loved this. It's one of my favorite horror novellas of all time. It is nothing but Blackened Teeth. It has a 2.8, and I gave it 5 stars. Honestly, I don't know why anybody would dislike this story. I think it's absolutely stunning. The writing is beautiful. It's very reminiscent of like old Japanese horror. It has very much Ring vibes. It's about this group of friends who go to this old abandoned mansion in Japan for a wedding, and then weird creepy shit starts happening. It's haunted, and it's just so beautifully done. So well written, and I'm offended that this is the worst book that I read according to Goodreads, because this was stunning and I highly recommend it to anybody that likes horror novellas. So that one and The Last Final Girl, I'm genuinely mad that they're on here. The Last Final Girl, I understand why people wouldn't like it. The writing style is definitely not for everybody. But Nothing But Blackened Teeth, I cannot imagine why anybody wouldn't love Nothing But Blackened Teeth. Like, I don't get it. So that is the lowest rated books that I have read according to Goodreads, and I would agree with the majority of them. I would love to know your thoughts down below on the lowly rated books that I have read. Let me know your opinions on them if you've read them. If you have nothing to say, leave a ghost emoji for justice for the Nothing But Blackened Teeth down in the comments. Thanks so much for watching, and I will catch you guys in my next one.